Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Thank you for being a part of this event. I wanted to share with you, if I could, a story about when I was growing up. When I was 5 years old, I used to spend the summers with my grandparents. And every summer I'd go up, and if you're like me, the greatest chance to be with your grandparents is that they let you do all the things that your parents won't let you do. And they let you do all the things like that. You can drink Coke for breakfast and pancakes for dinner. And it was always the greatest time. And in fact, I loved it so much that when it was time for me to leave, every day after my grandmother cooked breakfast, she would take the leftovers and put them on a little plate. And so it was kind of a snack, mid-morning snack. And every time when I was getting ready to leave and I knew my parents were coming to get me, I would take that food and I thought, wait a minute, if I could hide under the bed long enough, maybe they would forget me and I wouldn't have to leave. So I loved these times that I spent with my grandparents. But one of the things that that impacted me most, that I learned later on in life, was when I was 5 years old. There was a little girl down the street from my grandparents' house, and her name was Diane. And she and I used to play every day, and we'd play cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians, and we'd ride horses with my granddad. And one day we took her home. And as she was getting out of her car, or out of my granddad's truck, I looked over at the front door, and she didn't have a doorknob. And I remember at the time, at 5 years of age, I thought, how can someone not have a doorknob? Now, what you and I know today is that the absence of the doorknob on her front door meant a whole lot more than just whether or not they could lock their house. It meant that they really probably struggled financially and that it was really probably a pretty tough life. What was surprising to me is the joy she had. In spite of probably what was a really a tough upbringing, she still had amazing joy. So when I turned 40, one of the things that I did is I reflected back on the times and the people that had the greatest impact on my life. And when I sat down to make these notes, I realized that the first person outside of my family that it had made the most profound impact on me was Diane. And it was at that moment when I was 5 years old, we drove off, and I said to my granddad, I said, Grandpa, we've got to buy her a doorknob. Because at 5 years old in my brain, the only thing I could see was something that I knew I needed to help with. So when I turned 40, I realized it was the first time in my life that I knew I wanted to help people. That in a 5-year-old's mind, helping that person looked like a doorknob. But at 40, what would it really look like to really help people? So I want to share with you this morning what that doorknob taught me about leadership and about serving other people and really making an impact in this world. Now, there are thousands of books that have been written, maybe even more than that, about how you and I can become a better leader. I've read lots of them. I think they're incredibly important. There's also been tons of advice on who you and I should lead. There's advice on the Pareto principle, which says that I should spend 80% of my time with 20% of the people because it'll give me 80% of the results. And I should spend time with people who are leaders because that multiplies my impact. I think all of that is true and sound advice. However, I think there's one question that if it goes unanswered, you and I leave thousands of opportunities closed. Now, this question's an easy question to ask, but what I found for myself early on in my career is that it's very difficult to answer. It's a question that if you and I can really think through it, if we can really wrestle that question and answer to the ground, it can make all the difference in the way you lead and the joy you and I can get from leading. So the question's this: why do I lead, really? Why do I lead? Why do I want to influence people? Why do I want to lead and be known as a leader and have people look up to me? Why do I do that, really? Now, the reason that I posed that question is early on in my career, I'll tell you why I led. I led so that I could get things done. I led so that I could get people to do what I wanted them to do, so that I could get what I wanted out of my life. And the thing I found was that I would tell people to do this, and if you're a leader, you understand this. You tell people what to do, and you say, hey, this is the direction we're going, and you turn your back and you look around and you go, wait a minute, I thought we said we were going in that direction, and they've just stopped. And the reason behind that, in my opinion, is that selfish leadership never lasts long term. You and I have never followed a selfish leader very far. Because if I use people as a tool, they feel it. In fact, you've heard people say at times that, oh, they have a hidden agenda. And I have news for you. There is no hidden agenda. Everyone's agenda eventually comes out. Why do you lead? Really? Zig Ziglar said it this way. He said, if you'll help enough people get what they want out of life, they will help you get what you want out of life. But the order matters. He didn't say, if I can get enough people to help what I know. He said, if you'll help enough people get what they want out of life, they'll help you get what you want out of life. Simon Sinek said it this way. He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't follow you because of how you lead. They follow you because of why you lead. So I made a decision that I would lead for other people's gain. I made a decision that if I were going to lead you, that my goal would not be for me to be successful. My goal is for you to be successful. And my success is the reward. Why do you lead? Really? See, and here's what happens. The progression of leadership looks like this. First, I lead for what's in it for me. Then I lead for what's in it for us, for we. And that's a great place to be, because if you and I can go from me to we can make a huge difference. But I think the pinnacle, the next step is, can you and I go from leading for what's in it for us to leading for what's in it for you? And then my reward is getting to see your success and the success that I receive as a gift. It's the greatest thing that you and I can decide. And I think if a leader will decide that the biggest step they can take is to be a tool for other people's success. Instead of seeing yourself as the leader and that you're trying to take people somewhere, if you'll see yourself, if I'll see myself as the tool for other people's success, you'll be amazed how people will come around you and how they'll come around me because they know that they can trust you. So today, I may not be buying people doorknobs. But what I am trying to do is open thousands of doors of success and opportunity for people. See, my goal and your goal as a leader should be to open doors for people that they could never open on their own. Put them in rooms with others that they would never have the opportunity to sit with if it wasn't for you. Every one of us can remember a teacher or a coach or a parent or a grandparent or a friend who gave us the chance that turned our life forever. And you and I have an opportunity to be that kind of leader to the people that we influence. Sociologists tell us that the most introverted person in the world will impact 10,000 other people in their life. The most introverted person impacts 10,000 other people. Those are the lives that you and I hold in the palm of our hands. So I would encourage you today to open doors for people. Give people opportunities they wouldn't have otherwise. Lead for their success and not yours, so that someday you can sit back knowing the reward of opening those doors of opportunity. And as Thoreau said, you give people an opportunity to live a life unexpected and common hours. And who knows, maybe on the other side of this life, you'll get to see the halls of heaven filled with the thousands of people that you opened doors of opportunity for. Thank you very much.